Hello and welcome to Season 10, Episode 25 of The Purple Rain, brought to you by our great sponsors, Sonam Capital, Bloom Real Estate, and DR Travels. Oz, how you going, my friend?
Yeah, going very well, mate. Busy days, busy life.
That's it.
You are finding out too. You've got number 2 on the way, mate. Just letting you know. One for each hand, mate. Go 3. It's all over Red Rover. So, great game. Looking forward to talking about it. It was the talk of the town in the office today. Are Fremantle boarding a bus? Are we premature in such discussions? I'm keen to hear your take on it. Let's go.
All right, let's get into it. This week's Good, Bad and Dockery is brought to you, as always, by DR Travels. For all your travel needs, make sure you get in contact with Daniel on 0474 064 629 or flick him an email, daniel.rees@globaltravelnetwork.com.au. Might need some flights either to Brisbane, to Gold Coast. Might need some flights to Adelaide. Might need some flights to Melbourne. We could be going anywhere, or even Sydney. Could end up playing GWS. Who knows? Even though GWS had a bit of a stinker on the weekend. So we could be going anywhere, but hopefully, let's just hope that we are finals bound, because the Fremantle Dockers 15-4-94 defeated the Carlton Blues 10-7-67 by 27 points. Just some stats that make you 49-6 when we score above 80 points. 45-1-12 when we score less than 70 points. We are now 10 wins from 11 games, Oz. So you got to be up and about. I love this, and I did a little bit of a deep dive last night, but one of the big things that I've been really licking them about, Oz, is our spread of goal kickers.
Yep.
This is the first time in the history of the Dockers that we have had 6 players score 20 or more goals in a season.
Talk to me.
So, obviously, Tracy's leading the goal kicking. Jai Miss, Freddie, Bolton, Murphy, and, of course, Patrick Voss. So good to see those guys. And the three-headed monster, the even spread this week, the fact that a miss kicked 3 goals, had 2 marks inside 50 and 1 goal assist. Tracy, 3 goals, 2 marks inside 50 and 2 goal assists. And Vossi, 3 goals, 1 mark inside 50 and 2 goal assists. The fact that these guys are not only kicking goals but giving them off to other people, throw in duds, kicking 2. I think that was such a great spread of our forwards. And look, there's any of those guys. Switkowski, I think he's up and about. Freddie, he had a little bit of a down game. We'll talk about him a bit later. But look, he kicked 4 goals last week. Dogger Jackson's going forward, and I think he's kicked 11 goals in the last 5 or 6 matches. So he's up and about. So just that ability to have different looks. You've got to worry about more than one bloke. You know, it's going to be very hard to match up on these 3. And you can argue, they're all okay, but they're also potent that it does become really hard for defenders to match up on those guys.
Yeah, 100%. And we talked about it last week that Freo, it's not just a 2-headed monster. It's more about the spread of kickers and the complexity that Freo throws at you in terms of its different looks. And I think that starts not only in the forward line, but it starts in the midfield. And then you've got to pick and choose your poison. Although having said that, Duck, what I thought was awesome was the ability to turn what was an absolutely dismal first half performance into a solid, reputable second half that showed maturity and showed what we can do to adjust and win games.
Yeah, and I think the fact, look, the game turned in the second half. First half, 4 goals won to 8 goals won. So we're down by 4 goals. Contested possession, we were -6. Centre clearances were getting killed. Inside 50s were getting killed. Tackles inside 50 were getting killed. All our main metrics we're really struggling at, but we're in striking zone. But the ability to turn the game in the second half, Oz, and look, I think people can be critical of J-Lo's preparation in that, but I think you've got to really be praising him for the ability to change what was happening at halftime, make the adjustments, and then go from there. 11 goals 3 to 2 goals 6 after halftime. Contested possessions, we won by 17 after halftime.
Yep.
You know, like if you look at stoppages, like obviously we were getting beaten at stoppages. We managed to even that up and actually win that count. But the other thing as well was like, so we kicked 8 goals 2 to 4 goals 3 from stoppage, and the centre clearance stoppage was 2 goals 2 to 1 point in Carlton's favour. So essentially, if you're looking at stoppages around the ground, it's 8 goals to 2.
Yeah.
You know, so that's such a great outcome for our guys. And I think there was a couple of key things. I mean, we've spoken about this previously on the final siren. That pod's just up now. So, you know, things like O'Meara moving inside, Erasmus moving outside.
Love
Now, I don't know what that means long term for Erasmus, but O'Meara moving inside was such a great move. He put the clamps on Hewitt. Hewitt essentially didn't have any more clearances after that. O'Meara gets 3 clearances essentially in a row. There's a couple of mung kicks and things like that, but he gave us that lift in the centre square. He's rewarded with a coach's vote because I actually think he did turn the game. And I think his ability, he put the Superman cape on and he just took it.
Yeah, it was one of those things, Duck, where we thought something has to change. Youngie's injury, which, by the way, just received word out from Freo that it's an adductor strain. And they'll release the other timeline. It literally just got released just as you were talking then. I've had a quick look at it.
Oh, nice.
So it could be, depending on the severity, if it's a grade 1, it's probably 1 or 2 weeks. If it's a grade 2, it's coming up to the 3 to 4. We'll see how it goes. So they'll talk about it. But we needed something to change, Duck. We talked about it. And JL made the move. So he's now fast becoming known for the ability to change the course of a game with time. And I think in game, you've mentioned it before, and I think I really need to subscribe to this understanding that it's pretty hard to make key changes in game. And when you are getting your pants pulled down, particularly in the middle, Sarong really struggled to work through that tag early on. I still think that's a team effort to try and help him work through it like other teams do. And you know, all that sort of stuff, Duck. But sorry, mate. But the one thing that I wanted to get to was when JL gets an opportunity to speak to the lads and make changes, if the players execute, it's proven to work. And I think O'Meara going into the middle was what we needed, a solid, bigger body just to basically bulldoze way through. And once we had a little bit of ascendancy in there, all of a sudden, guess what? Defenders aren't under siege. We can move the ball forward. We can attack. We can use corridor. We can use wings. And our forwards start getting into the game because they're not waiting for it to come on their head. So, it's interesting, isn't it?
I think there was a clear little bit of preempting of the fact that I think the team thought that, you know, Carlton being a very low pressure team, the game wasn't going to be as hot as what it was. It was very hot in the first half. And look, Carlton came to play. They, you know, like we often, as Dockers fans, we get a little bit, the first, like you can look at it, first half, what a load of crap, da-da-da. But, you know, you've got to remember, and I often do this when I'm coaching, like you got to remember there's 22 other blokes, or in our case in AFL is 23. There's 23 other blokes that want to win the game. Like they're not just there to like, good luck guys, and I hope you have a bit of fun. It's not the Washington Generals. You know, like they're actually there to compete. So I think, you know, you're looking at Hewitt and Cripps in particular, they are good footy players.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing we need to take from this game is that same with St Kilda, double big body mid really puts us in a bit of trouble. Eagles last year with Yo and even you could argue Reid, double big body mid, like not one big body, but 2 big bodies, especially with Brayshaw and Sarong. There's issues there. There's definitely issues there. I think as well, I think Sean Darcy's last quarter, again, he goes through these games and you just kind of like, man, like what they started off, they start Jackson in the center square. And then I think the ability to put Jackson as the mid in there, Jackson, highest rated player on the ground again, and his ability to play forward, mid, or ruck. Darcy, I felt, got on top. He just grinds people down. The last quarter started to dominate. Carl Warner, I mean, what another great game. Someone on my chat said that he's like Bailey Banfield without mistakes. So, I mean, poor old Banner's always copping drive-bys, mate. He's like, he lives in South Central, mate. He's drive-by Central. But Warner, and they showed the footage, the Dockers just released it on their socials, like spoil, follow up with a smother, follow up with a couple of really crucial intercept marks, and this passage of play where Carlton could still win the game, and they were kind of their last roll of the dice. We had the momentum. They're having their last roll of the dice, and Warner stood up, which was really awesome. But a guy we want to talk about, Oz, who is your Macho Man of the Week. Let's have it. This week's Macho Man is brought to you by Bloom Real Estate. Buying or selling, why not give Fraser a call? His number is 0439 092248, or email him, fraser@bloomwa.com.au. Who's the man we're talking about, Oz?
Duck, often maligned and inappropriately labelled, if you will, laconic, because we know that the term laconic doesn't apply in the situation to what can be subpar attempts at contests is probably the best way to describe it. But I think Brennan Cox and his efforts on the weekend were a significant factor in Fremantle winning that game of football. And I'll tell you why, to the point of keeping us in the game when we were under siege. You had Seagal coming out of birthday cakes. There was just all sorts of knives being thrown around.
Tommy Lee Jones
out there throwing tomahawks everywhere. Look,
Nick Nolte.
Nick,
Under siege, bloody good.
no, that wasn't Nick Nolte. It's Gary Busey.
Gary Busey, that's right. Not Nick Nolte.
Gary Busey.
Busey.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. But I digress, Duck. The game that he played and his ability to nullify, spoil was just elite. And we need that performance on the regular basis. How many times when we're watching the game, how many times do I'll turn to you and go, here comes a red time goal. Here comes a red time goal. But we managed to hold out.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the most important things about this defense is that they now have proven on multiple occasions that they can buffer. And that ability to buffer buys time for us to make the necessary adjustments. And if it doesn't happen in the first half, it's happening in the second half. And I thought that he, along with the other defenders, and Clarky, shout out to Clarky, he was unfortunate to miss out, as was Warner. I thought their collective efforts in the back line were immense. But Coxie, shout out to you, my man. Salute, because I thought your game was instrumental in us winning.
Yeah, fantastic effort by Cox. Obviously, Lukey Ryan, Jordan Clark, Omac, Warner. These guys they're not exactly household names. They're not exactly your flashy types. But the fact that our back six in particular are able to continue to hold up. Heath Chapman, throw him in there as well, and Bailey Banfield. They're able to hold the damn wall. Hold the damn wall, because we know in this game of football, there'll be momentum changes. There'll be swings. We know as well, if we can, and I think there's this real belief, Oz, that if we can hold teams, if we can hold, we can explode in the back end of games, and we can really run over the top of teams. And, you grind them down in the mids with the big bodies and the big ruckman. You hold them in the back line, and then you're able to expose them in the forward line with the spread of goal kickers. And I think that's really awesome for the Dockers going forward, and really sets us up for these finals. Just into some bad Oz. Obviously, the first half was dreadful. Like, it was pretty poor footy. We got smashed around the contest. Hewitt and Cripps made Brayshaw and Sarong look second rate. And again, that dual big body mid, I do worry about that. It's a little bit tough, because I don't know if there's too many teams that have two big body mids nowadays. You even look at like the likes of Collingwood. They've got like Dacos isn't a big body. They've obviously got Ned Long. He's a bit of a bigger body. The guys at Brisbane aren't really big body mids. The guys at GWS, Doggies have got Bont, and but there's no like 190, 195 guys that are your Fyfe types. But look, it's still something to be worried about. It might be something that we do see from an opposition. The tag on Sarong as well. Like, I feel like Sarong just needs to do a bit of a Sam Mitchell job and just go to and they kind of started to do it, but he's got to tag himself, and he's like, well, if you're going to tag me, well, I'm going to tag your best player, and then the other guy's going to get free. So it's something that he's really got to work through, as well as people helping him. But there's no person in the competition, I feel, that can be in the midfield that is easily tagged. And I just don't get why teams don't tag him.
Yeah, so we've talked about this stuff.
Yeah.
We believe that is the Achilles heel of Fremantle is to tag out Sarong, and then it's pretty tough
Yeah.
summer from there. What I don't understand, and I'm hoping you can explain this to me, how can teams like, I'm just going to use Collingwood as an example, when Dacos is being tagged, every member of that midfield and other players at every given opportunity will bump and knock the player who is tagging Dacos to the point where they come off the field and still get bumped.
Yeah.
And yet we're not doing that. Why?
I think we kind of do. I think we do, but it's just not as like it's still a bit tough. Like we don't have the big body that can get in there and start bumping blokes and all this kind of stuff. I think as well, like, unfortunately, with, like, let's say Dacos. Well, Dacos can go half back. He can go to a half forward. He can still get possession. He can still kick goals. Sarong is a midfielder, and that's it. You know, like, that's that inability to change what he can do. I think as well, like, obviously, the Young going down with this groin abductor injury. He will miss this week, I just read from Ryan Daniels, but they're seeing how he'll go, hopefully back for the finals. You know, he is that X factor in regards to, like, he's probably the one that people might go to. And then you're like, oh, you don't worry about accumulators. Often you're like, accumulators. But Sarong's so important to accumulate those possessions. So, yeah, I just think, because it's one of those things where if you come in with a clear game plan, you're like, all right, our two big guys are going to win it and we're going to tag Sarong. Then that's a really good thing. Oh, well, not a really good thing, but that's a really Achilles heel for the Dockers. You know, and we need to see the likes of Brayshaw and O'Meara. We saw O'Meara do it. Brayshaw not as much. Maybe Fyfe when he comes back. Erasmus still got some work to do on his game. But when Young gets back, being able to help out and do something a little bit differently. I think as well, as we spoke about this at halftime, the overuse of the hand pass, given the pressure, the conditions, and the lineup. All three of those things would say to me, we're not going to. And look, I'm not one of kick it forward. You know, I'm not. Shout out to the kick it forward boys. But I'm not one of these people who's like, you know, you've got to kick it forward, get it forward at all times. But when you have, I mean, that was the thing that we spoke about, wasn't it? When you've got four talls or five talls in your team, when you've got that are forward of centre, when you've got real wet and slippery conditions, when you've got real weird breezy conditions, when the pressure's up. Let's just get it on the boot,
get it on
man.
the boot.
Get it on the boot.
What's the purpose of playing talls if you don't want to actually kick it to their advantage?
Yeah. Or like and you saw Tracy and Voss and a miss. Their contested mark is pretty bloody good.
Pretty bloody good.
Yeah. All three of them are very good contested marks. And once old mate from their team, what was his name? Farrell went down. And I do feel sorry for the young fella because he's just starting his career, kicks his first goal, and then he does his knee. You know, once he went down, then there was that clear, all right, we've got the numbers here. Like we can definitely get the ball in the air and look, you know what, Oz? The other thing is this. In the past, I would be like, don't bomb it into our forward line because we don't have guys who contest and we don't have small forwards that go front and center and know how to crumb. Guess what we have now? We have forwards that contest and we've got dead set, man. Like Murphy Reid and Shea Bolton know how to be front and center. Now, Bolton should have kicked goal and duds. Like Bolton should have kicked a goal because he's like, but he dribbled it, you know, just a bit of a nightmare, that one. But look, I just think it's one of those things where it's like, it's not the worst idea now. And look, that goes against everything that I like in footy. But I feel like we've now got the personnel where we can bomb it in, but we're not doing it. Whereas previously we didn't have the personnel and we do it. Like it just does, mate. Obviously, we spoke about Youngie's groin injury. We've got a question coming up about that in regards to what does that mean for our finals hopes and aspirations. Just into some Dockery. Look, the conditions, got to talk about that. The flagpoles, guys, I don't know if they put it on the TV or anything like that, but the flagpoles nearly blew off the top of the stadium.
Yep.
And the flagpoles were blowing to the train station end, but the wind was going to the river end. So it was super weird how it was swirling around. We spoke to Vossi about that on the final siren, if you want to listen to that. Little bit of reverse Dockery, 10 straight from set shots. That's real weird. That's I like it, love it. I love it. I love the 15-4. I love that. But yeah, I'm just like, whoa, what's coming up for us? Are we in for And look, we didn't kick straight last week for periods of the game, so
Yes,
you know
true,
that's a part of it. Oz, I llove this one, and David King put this out. Bottom 9 versus top 9 is in the last 35 games is 34-1. The only person who has lost a game versus the bottom 9 from the top 9 is the Dockers versus the Swans a couple of weeks ago. So classic. The retro kit. We'll talk about the retro kits in a second, but Warie Time. It was all weird. It wasn't really. It was like I don't know what happened, but
earlier. I'm thinking might have been
Warie
earlier.
Time should have been early for a start. Once Dudley had the set shot, I would have played the Warie Time.
Now here's a question for you.
But also, it wasn't quite the same impact because they still had the green and the red. It's like now Warie Time's got to be like the Undertaker. Everything's got to go black, and it's got to be like
Yeah, I like
bong.
it. Bong, yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
Now,
you know.
would it be because and I think there was a question earlier on about the final siren. Now, long story short is the media team work their asses off and can't work 7 days a week. Okay, I understand that people might think that's a possibility. It's not. So with the AFLW kicking off, with half dedicated to that, they then can't work this one, which means that there's half of the team available. So with that, that's why we did an audio-only pod. But would that be perhaps we didn't have anyone in there and someone had to run from another direction to get to the spot to press the button for Warie Time? But I thought maybe a little earlier, just get us up and about.
Yeah, I would have maybe done it after Dudley's first goal at the 13-minute mark.
Yeah.
When we go, we hit 70 points to 59, we get that goal and a half clear.
Yep.
Everyone's up and about. We've kicked 3 goals in a row there. So, yeah, that's when I would have definitely done it just to get everyone up and about. Oz, the retro kits.
Yes.
I want to talk about that because I think they are a part of our Dockery DNA.
Yep.
There's a book that's out called The Fibers of Freo that I'd really love to read, but I haven't been able to pick up a copy yet. And I think that they've done a really great job. If you follow them on Instagram, they've got a lot of their interviews that they've had.
Yep.
Also not shout out, but condolences to Neil Turner's family, the guy who designed the Dockers jumper actually passed away, designed the boxing kangaroo. So
yep.
I mean, how iconic's that? But the retro kits, Oz, I got 2 things.
Go.
One, what do we do next for the retro gear? Because I had a look through the.
I'll tell you right now what it is.
What do you got?
I'm going the red chevrons with the white or the blue chevrons with the white. 1 year, next year. That's it.
So you're doing like a heritage round, East Fremantle, South Fremantle?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, because I would have gone.
Don't tell me. Can you remember that heritage round with black shorts, metas, pav? Oh, come on.
I would have gone. I feel like we played all our heritage games away from WA as well. Like we never had a home heritage game. I would have gone if for next year's retro round, I want to see, and this is one of my favorite jumpers because I had it, and I think it's the only retro jumper we haven't done, but essentially the inverse of what we just had.
Yep.
So white jumper, purple anchor. And I would actually place I'd be like, yeah, no, we'll play in the white shorts. So, like do something like that and just like get the other team to wear their home kit. I don't think it'd matter a great deal. Like maybe you do it against like an Essendon, they'd be happy to play in their red and, or a Richmond, they'd be happy to play in their black jumpers as much as they can. So I'd go with something like that. I think as well, like I put this out here. Do you think there is a club with better retro gear than the Dockers?
No.
Is it
because we're so rowdy?
Yeah, the different colours.
Different colours is
red,
rowdy.
green,
Yeah.
purple,
Yeah.
white.
Yeah.
You're getting all kinds of weird stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think our retro gear is quite trendy.
You know what we should do just as gags?
What's that?
Our next retro round, throwback to how the team was formulated, just wear Claremont jersey.
Claremont jersey? Oh, yeah, well, Claremont. Yes. Claremont jerseys, jeez. That's a good one. I thought what we could do is go for a couple of, if you go back in time, guys, the training jerseys, like the all green training jersey.
Yeah.
Or the all green, like so similar to what we wore. All red. Yeah, all red or all green. I'd love to see one, like an all green one. I'd love to see. I feel like I was thinking about this the other day, because I remember there was an NFL game where they do the color rush, and it was someone was all green and the other team was all red, and like someone wrote on Twitter like, this is really great for green red colorblind people, which is I think most colorblind people are green red. So I wonder if there is something about not having green as a color in AFL because of green, red, colorblind people. I wonder if that's a thing.
Oh, maybe now, but I don't think back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, no, but like now, because like
what did Tassie wear then?
Yeah, I guess they're going to wear green, aren't they? when they're playing the Suns, and they're like in the all red kit. Like, I actually played with a guy who's green red colourblind, and he was like, "We'd I think Mount Barker were green. They're green, aren't they? Yeah, Mount Barker. Oh no, Denmark Warpole were green and red, and we were all red."
Oh.
And he was like,
"Come on,
footy's
guys.
red, grass is green." He's like, "Mate, this is like back in the day." I'm like, "Oh god, black and white TV." All right, on that note, let's go to a break. When we come back, we've got some Peel Talk and some Sonam Capital listeners' questions. Welcome back to Season 10, Episode 25 of The Purple Rain.
Purple Rain.
Oh, Oz has got the donuts. He's up and about. All right, guys, let's get into some Peel Talk. Well, Peel Thunder had one of the all-time games in what was atrocious conditions on Saturday. Peel Thunder won 10-16, defeated by the Claremont Tigers 8-6-54 by 38 points. Only two real guys to talk about, which I think have a chance to come in. That's Fyfe. Obviously played 3 quarters, 28 disposals, 4 marks, and 6 tackles. And the other guy, actually, I think, look, mate, I don't think Will Brody does play again for the Dockers, to be honest. And we've got a question coming up about him. But I reckon Narkle might be a chance. 27 disposals. The other guys, obviously, Walker and Aish played pretty well down backline, but I think our backline's been very solid over the last couple of weeks. So Narkle, if we're looking for a little bit more of that run, and we're going to push O'Meara into O'Meara inside. I don't know whether or not we give Fyfe a full run at waffle level, like try and get him to play 4 quarters, or do we bring him in as the sub Oz?
Good question. Just finished the donut. Shoved it all in. Shout out. By the way, apparently, all things considered, we may have run him out of business with the amount of free donuts we're giving away. I love it. Nathaniel Fyfe comes in for me, mate, and I reckon he's a sub.
Yeah.
And I think he comes in and plays, but I think he actually plays a little bit more than the quarter and the 2 minutes to go in the third, which is traditionally what happens. We did make a bit of a joke that there was perhaps some confusion because the sub had to be activated before the third quarter with 2 minutes to go. But all jokes aside, mate, I think Nat Fyfe plays. I'm hoping that he builds what he needs to. It's proof that we need a bigger body through there. And, you know, I saw in ridiculously wet and outrageous conditions how clean he was, taking marks, picking the ball up, bullocking his way through. And that's exactly what we need. It's the season of Fyfe because of his big body. And I think this week it's a good opportunity. It's a good tune-up for him away. So I think he probably plays more like a quarter and a half than he does a quarter.
The only thing I'd be wary of, Oz, and look, people know that my thoughts on Fyfe aren't always positive, but I don't think there could have been better conditions to suit him on the weekend. Very slow, slog game. You know, game slowed down because it was treacherous. And we know that the thing that what's happened with him is that his pace and like his ability to keep up with the pace of the game isn't quite there anymore. And it isn't there anymore. That's just a fact of life because Father Time's undefeated. So I'd just be precautious on buying into the stats and thinking that, you know, like he played what he could do, but I wouldn't be surprised if they give him another week. Let's see if we can get you out on a dry track because he's not going to come up with those type of conditions at any AFL level because the grounds drain away too well. And unless you've got an absolute torrential downpour,
my question to you then, Duck, because I'm listening to what you're saying. Have a lot of respect for what you're saying.
Yep.
But if you compare the midfields of Port Adelaide and Brisbane, which particular game would you prefer to see him play? And also, you're leaving it late if he's a sniff for finals. But I'm curious to know.
Yeah,
out
I
of
mean,
the two,
that's it. Like, I like the idea of him being sub rolling into the finals because he does give you something different. He does, when the game's slowing in the fourth quarter, he can come in and give you that big body. So, look, I actually do like that. I just wouldn't mind him playing full game.
Yep.
Like, play a full game. He has not played a full game of footy this year at any level. So I just want to see that. Because we can get the situation like on the weekend, and the last time he tried to play AFL, he was injured as the sub at halftime. So I'm always precautious with that. I'd hate for us to lose a game. Let's say Port Adelaide this week, if we drop the game because we're down 2 rotations on the bench because Fyfe's got injured warming up and, we've got a couple more injuries. So touch wood, that doesn't happen. I'm speaking that into existence, which is a bit of a bad thing. But look, it's just one of those things, Oz, where I think I'm always on the glass half empty at the moment with the big fella because he I think people look too much back to 2019, 2013, 2014, 2015 Fyfe. And realistically, we've got to look at last year, the year before that, like that's the guy who we need to remember. And just remember, again, he's I don't think he's kicked the ball yet. I do not think he's kicked the ball.
I'm pretty sure he kicked it on the weekend. I saw him kick
No,
the
but
ball.
like in the AFL this year.
Oh, sorry, in the AFL.
In the AFL this year, I don't think he's had a kick. So just something to think about there as well. But that's enough on me because I'll get people ranting and raving telling me I hate Fyfe and stuff like that, which I don't. I hope he goes really well. All right, let's get into our listeners' questions. This week's listeners' question is brought to you by Sonam Capital. Dockers fan, ready to score big with your finances? Then look no further than Sonam Capital. As your trusted financial brokers, they specialise in home loans, business loans, construction and property loans, equipment loans, and even foreign exchange. They'll help you tackle your finance goals and set you up for victory on and off the field. So don't miss out. Visit Sonam Capital today or call Nick on 0409 62 6561. Let's build your financial future together. We might even talk a bit of Dockers with you, Nando. He's a great man. Oz, this one to start you off from Stephen Rodriguez. Who wins? 22 jam donuts versus 10 and 2 chocolate donuts.
Oh, I tell you what, Duck. I was hit with the, have you tried our chocolate donuts? And I just gave the look, no, but you will give me those chocolate donuts now. And I had a taste, and I tell you what, oh, they were pretty good, but you cannot beat a jam donut. So I'm going to go the jam donuts win, mate. And
jam donuts.
Did you enjoy that?
Chocolate donuts way better than jam donut. I'm putting it out there.
Yeah. Did you like the taste of that?
That was good. Good chalky dough.
Yeah, love
it.
Mate. This is from Michael. Duck, rank the top 9 from who you want to play to least want to play come finals time.
Oh, I tell you what, I'm just looking through it. Like, obviously, we beat Adelaide at home. Geez, Adelaide looked good on the weekend, but I've this is the thing, Oz. I feel like I don't have fear of Adelaide. Collingwood we beat away. Brisbane, I do not want to play. Brisbane at Brisbane,
forget about it.
Adelaide and Adelaide, Brisbane at Brisbane, Geelong in Geelong, which we probably get. I don't want to play those guys. Gold Coast, that travel worries me a little bit and what can be thrown up in the weather. But I wouldn't mind playing Gold Coast. GWS, I don't really have much fear of GWS, and same with the Western Bulldogs. I think Western Bulldogs we actually match up pretty well against. And Hawthorn, mate, I'm not really sure about Hawthorn. I've been thinking about Hawthorn a fair bit. I just feel like, and this might come back to bite me on the backside, but I don't see how Hawthorn get better in the future. Their best midfielder has a navicular injury.
Yep.
That's
the third injury.
They had 2 guys who played under 50 games on the weekend. I don't see any growth from their backline. They've got quite an old and established backline that can concede lots of goals. Their midfield, like Meek's not getting better, Newcomb's not getting better, Dylan Moore's not getting any better, Connor McDonald's not getting any better. Like, a lot of these guys have played, D'Ambrosio, they've played 50 to 100 games. So, but I think if I was to rank them, I'd go, I wouldn't mind playing, I'm going to go Hawthorn number 1, Giants number 2, Western Bulldogs number 3, Suns number 4, Adelaide number 5, Collingwood number 6, and then Geelong, then Brisbane.
Yeah,
just something about Geelong and the way they were able to spread from the contest. that really scared me when I watched them down at the Cattery.
The only thing that I believe will beat Geelong will be injuries.
So do you think they're going to win the flag?
I think they will be there in the last day of September.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's actually not September anymore. It's October, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know when it is.
When it is.
All
right.
This one's for you.
Go. Yep.
Dan G. Prince has asked, does Erasmus start next week?
No. Oh. Actually, yes, because I think Fyfe will start on the bench.
You don't think they'll bring in a recognised wingman like a Sharp or a Narkle to play on the wing rather than
I'd like to see
Erasmus
Narkle get out there, have a crack.
Sharpie, bring back
Sharpie.
Case,
Sharpie.
Low touch.
You know what I'm curious about is the talk about how Cooper Simpson, he was selfless, did the team thing, ticking all the boxes, has some. Oh, okay. Yep. All right. Good. Yep. Anyway, so there you go. So I wasn't aware of that question. All right. This one from Hugh Grey Duck. This is egregious, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm backing him in here. It's ridiculous that the Screaming Jets Better came 100th in the Triple J Hottest 100 Aussie songs of all time. What are your thoughts on the Triple J Hottest Aussie songs?
Yeah. Look, mate, I'm a bit. I think it was pretty funny because me, my brother, and my sister had a yarn about it after because Nelson didn't know what was happening because he doesn't know what's going on nowadays. He's just too busy doing stuff. But yeah, a couple of ones that I was disappointed in, and I want to put this out there. And I think that Friday on My Mind, just how that's like the most popular, like that was the first popular Aussie song overseas. I think as well, like. I like Don't Change for In Excess. That's like one of my favorite In Excess songs.
Yeah.
But I think things like Thirsty Merc, Summertime, banger, like certified banger. Yeah, but we talked about a few things like Cut Copy and Girling and stuff, and like some real Architects of Helsinki didn't get a song in there. Like, there's a few people. Did you have any surprises that you were like, oh man?
Well, first of all, that's an absolute banger.
Mm.
But really the songs are kind of tainted by recent bias.
Yeah, there is some recency bias.
So, I mean, and I understand that I had this conversation at my dinner table. Like, Veronica's Untouched at number 3.
Yeah, but you got to remember, Oz, that is like...
It's a banger.
Yeah, it's a banger.
But,
yeah.
That's recency bias.
No, but that's a 15-year-old song, isn't it? When did it come out?
Yeah, but if you can compare that to your tried and tested songs, whether it is AC/DC, whether it is Green Spoon, whether it is Silverchair, whether these sort of.
See, this is the thing, Oz. I never really got around Silverchair. Were you a Silverchair fan?
They were around when I was around.
Yeah, and
so I think their early stuff was pretty funny. I mean, like the lyrics of "Water out of a tap is very hard to drink" and repeats it. But once they got, later on, musically, mate, very gifted.
Yes,
and people like, but that's the taste of music. Like you can't just, you can't change my mind on that. I mean, I love my music, and I think that's awesome. But I also think that it depends on who's. I'm assuming this is voted.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's based on who votes. And look, I mean, at the moment, I'm actually loving listening to by Death by Denim. And, they couldn't crack a Hottest 100. And so, I understand the recency bias with that. So I think, like, at least songs got in there that I like and appreciate.
Yeah.
But the order, you can never agree with an order. But the one absolute banger for me, I mean, because I'm a Midnight Oil buff, so, I understand why they
the
are. The
oils.
But the one song for me, which for me, it typifies Australia, Great Southern Land.
Oh, yeah.
So if you look at the top 10, obviously Never Tear Us Apart, In Excess, Nosebleed Section, Hilltop Hoods, I'm all around that. Veronica's, I'm not going to agree with whoever. Missy Higgins, not going to agree with that. Crowded
Missy
House.
Higgins, banger.
No. I like Missy Higgins, but not in the top 10.
Come on, mate.
Not in the top 10. No, disagree. Powderfinger, yeah. Cold Chisel, yeah, I can see why. K-San, if that should have been higher if that was going to be. How to Make Gravy is an absolute banger. But I would have thought that From Little Things, Big Things Grow is better than How to Make Gravy.
No, How to Make Gravy is Paul Kelly's best song.
I disagree with that.
You're not going to go through all 100, mate.
No, but I'm just saying the top 10. Like it should have been in the top 10, mate. As soon as you talk music, mate, I'm all up and about. This is my thing. But anyway.
All right, Oz, what about this one?
Good question, by the way. I like that one.
All right, so Ash Warner has asked.
Yes.
Not only the old anchor back and the OG song as well, is it time we bring them both back for good?
No. It was fun to listen to, and I think early on in our pod, I think I had the old school. It's quite slow, and I think the movement towards the newer version was good, and I think that iteration is better for a supporter to get around. I don't think we need to go down the Eagles. Let's ham it up rock style, and it turns into some
I'd change
mouth
the song
breathing type
mate.
song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just a whole bunch of mouth breathers and leather jackets singing it. But I mean, it is what it is. But the anchor, I'm all out for the anchor. Again, I say this. What we need is Paddy Voss in his overalls pre-game, dragging the rock, and then boom, lift it up.
That's his pre-game workout.
All right, Mary Dixon is asked, Duck. Don't want to tempt fate, a very Dockery attribute. But have we ever lost when Warie Time has been instigated?
It's interesting because we spoke about a post-Collingwood draw that we'd never seen it before, but apparently it had been put in. So I feel like we've lost one game with Warie Time. One. But yeah, it's generally when it's Warie Time, you got to get up and about. Oz, this one for you from Mickey91.
Yep.
Thoughts on Bolton's last 6 weeks or so? So just to give you a bit of an understanding, the last couple of weeks, Bolton's gone 16 disposals and a point, 25 disposals, 1 goal, 3, 14 disposals and 3 points, 19 disposals, 2 goals, 1, and 17 disposals with no score.
Bolton is class. Bolton gives us X factor. Bolton does things and pulls things out of said nether region that I don't think any other player on the team could probably do at this point, this juncture. But the one thing that probably irks, I would say, a ton of supporters would be just do the small things well. And just do the percentage like that.
Yeah, but that's not who he is.
No,
mate.
he's not.
He's
but
the
I'm
freak.
just.
He's the Jazz. He's the skipper.
I am
Can't
just
get
saying
upset
that's
with
what
him,
it is. So you can't, because that's who he is. You can't coach out what he's got, because that's why we brought him in. You got to keep, because we haven't had that before. Like, we haven't had this type of X factor before. Yeah. We've had players that are really close in terms of what they can bring and so forth, but what he's able to do, mate. And can I just, for those people who are really upset, just cast your mind back to Greater Western Sydney when he's laid on one of the biggest tackles in the dying stages, when the ball, for whatever reason, was kicked across the goal. And if he doesn't get to that tackle, then GWS...
Was that GWS or Gold Coast?
I reckon it was GWS. Was it Gold Coast or GWS?
Gold Coast, I reckon, that tackle.
You might be right.
Yeah,
and you might be right. And it would have pinged the other way.
But look at that. Look at those games.
Maybe you're right. Yeah,
24 disposals, 3 goals, 3 versus GWS away. 20 disposals, 3 goals, 2.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's kicked 23 goals, 25. He's had 12 goal assists. He's had 350 disposals. He's only had one game where he's got less than 15. Sorry, 2 games where he's had less than 15 disposals.
Yeah,
he's a freako. Or 3 games, sorry. He's a freako dad, mate. He's freak. You got to get around him. He is the guy who gives. Yeah, let him get his freak on, mate.
Yep.
All right, what do you got for
us?
us?
All right, this one is from Matthew Reynolds. Do you think the last game versus the Bulldogs will decide Freo's finals fates, or will it be a moot by then and it's about ladder position?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I saw something yesterday on Twitter that said the Western Bulldogs could win every game for the remainder of the season by 100 points, end up on a percentage of like 160 and 15 wins and still miss the 8.
Yeah.
Now, I think that game, hopefully, touch wood, that game isn't the game that depends on our ability to stay in the finals.
Oh, yeah.
And it's weird because I don't know, you guys are probably out there with your chat groups and you got your Dockers chat. And like on Thursday and Friday night, we got like people like, go this team, go that team. I'm like, no, like people saying go Western Bulldogs.
Yep.
And you're like, no, we want Western Bulldogs out of this. We want to get teams out of the finals race. So, on Thursday night, we want Collingwood. Like, I don't care about top 4 as I do care about just being in the finals.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, it's really tough, but it's a bloody exciting season. This one here from Warie. He's asked, when Cooper Simpson was injured, his shoulder, Longmire lauded his selfless act that caused the injury. Should this mean that he earns a recall into the side quickly, and does it take a spot straight back from Banfield?
Well, yeah, okay, that's what I was referring to before, actually. Yes, I do think he has a place in this side. We were looking really good moving the ball out of the back line. And the other thing which people forget about is the impact it has on Clarky and his ability to move the ball. Again, if there's 2 players synonymous with the culture of Freo's performance, it's Clarky and it's Sarong. And you clamp down on those 2 players and you go a hell of a long way to winning that game of football. So if we have an extra person back there who is able to help out and Clarky gets off the chain a bit, or even if Cooper Simpson has more of the ball in hand, I trust that because he's likely to take a kick on and he's got really sharp skills, and we saw that. So he was highly lauded coming into the Freo side. We thought that we got a bit of a steel duck, if you can recall, that he dropped to us in the manner in which he did.
Mm.
And I'm hoping that he's back. I think he played the first game he played last week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
it was
he played
before.
Full game this week.
Full game this week. It's probably a little too soon, but I want him back in the side.
Yeah, I don't look. I sound like I'm taking crazy pills, but I don't know if he gives us the defensive side that Banfield gives us, and I don't think we've had many issues transitioning. Like our transition game isn't too much of an issue in my opinion. I don't think transitioning from day 50 to forward 50 is an issue, and that's what Simpson helps us with. But you're getting that to give up defensive pressure, and you just think of the couple of things that Banners has done in the last couple of months while he's been at backline Banners, and there's been some spoils, there's been some smothers, there's been some rundown tackles. So as much as mate, and everyone knows how I feel about Banners, but he's been playing good football, and it's one of those things.
Is he not an upgrade though?
You got one for us? Sorry,
yeah, mate. This is from Matt Reynolds. Do you think the last game versus the Bulldogs will design? No. Cooper J. Preedy. Should we be trying to lure Patrick Cripps?
Oh, love that one. Would you, Oz?
Sorry. Yep.
And I actually don't know how old Paddy Cripps is. How old Patrick Cripps?
He could be 40, still going around.
Yeah, he's
shoulders.
Such a big body. Could you, because obviously people were talking today about he's 30 years old, he turns 31 next year, so maybe he's got 2 years left in him. The way he plays, combative nature, big boy. We've seen the drop off from Fyfe, so it's that little bit of risk. But do you say, hey mate, hey Carlton, because they don't have a first rounder. Would you give a first rounder for him? Just one?
That's future. Probably not, because then you're going into the West Coast territory of what they paid for Tim Kelly to get him over to top up. And they had to take that risk.
Yeah, but just one. Just one. Not multiple, just one. It's going to be a back-end guy. It's going to be someone after all the academies come in. It's going to be like pick 20.
I mean, look,
so do you go
a big body in the midfield?
As that extra big body.
You have to look at it.
You're looking at it. If you think O'Meara was really good on the weekend, you put Cripps in there over O'Meara or over Erasmus or over a Fyfe. Holy dooly. You're looking at, and if your rotation is like Cripps is your fourth banana, oh my days. Jill Brown, mate, he's bloody good.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll leave Carlton, Cripper.
Oh, he's a captain. He's not going anywhere.
But you never know. If I don't know. All right, what about this one for a trade? Do we trade? This is from Skinny_Backman.
Yep.
Do we trade Will Brody to Port?
I think that's where he's going. I think there's interest there from Joshy Carr, who coached in the last time we played finals. The last time we played finals, Will Brody was the main reason why we got there. One of the main reasons, because of his big body, accumulation, and I think what we saw in the final was unfortunately the weaknesses of Brody, which was that two-way running and he was exposed. And then I think the decision was made, no, we're moving forward. And that's why he hasn't played pretty much since.
Easy.
So, yes. Yeah, I think I hope that he plays somewhere because I think he's good enough to be playing AFL football somewhere. I just don't think that we've got the room currently in our midfield based on the current selection.
Yep.
Okay. Next one from Ryan Wilkinson. Does anyone else hate listening to Pav's constant criticism of Freo during a game?
I all over the socials today. There's a lot of hate being bandied about for the Pav, but I think Pav cares about the club so much.
Yep.
Like, you got to remember this guy, like, he loves the club. Let's not forget it. He's a bloody legend. Like, he's the best player to ever play at the Dockers.
Demigod.
Statues. All right.
Yep.
He's probably overcritical because he expects, he's like a fan. So, like, he does get critical because he is a fan. Like us on a Saturday or a Sunday, we're like, oh my God, what is this guy doing? Like, so he may come across as overcritical, but it's because he loves the club so much and he holds them to a higher and just, I think.
You need that, I think. I think you need someone
also, let's just lay off the Pav, mate. It's not like Ben Allen. Do you ever remember Ben Allen? Ben Allen used to be the special comments on the ABC radio.
Love it.
And he would audibly groan.
Yeah.
He'd be like,
yeah.
What are these guys doing? Anyway, is this one for you from Paul Yold? Matthew Lloyd says we can't win the flag without Youngie. Your thoughts?
Yeah. We can get pretty close, but it's going to be pretty hard. He just adds that final piece to the puzzle. And even with a dodgy adductor on his left side, which is his kicking side, judging by the way that old mate Buckets down there was testing it out, he can kick on his right foot. So I'd take his right foot any day of the week. But you need that left foot hitting the target. And you said before, Murphy Reid is probably our best short kick. Youngie is clearly our best long kick. Okay, next question. This is from Stephen Viet. Have we finally shaken the bad juju that Carlton has had over us? Duck.
Mate, 8 out of the last 9 wins before this game was to Carlton. You get the Jack Nunes game, you get the no Ruckman game, you get Cripps not playing.
Yeah.
Like, Cripps ain't playing.
Mouth breather kicks
not
it
playing.
after the siren.
What's going on there? So, yeah, I feel like the juju's maybe gone a bit. This one from you, from Stephen Benson.
Yep.
Did we get that wrong at selection table? Did we go too tall given the conditions, Oz?
I was a little worried. I saw the conditions. Come hell or high water, we're playing tall, and that's proof. If we looked at the weather, the scientists love certainty, and the meteorologists predicted and correctly identified an absolute butt ton of rain, and we still went with the team that we went with, and I understand why, and you have faith in that. But when the rain started coming in and we were like 3 goals or 4 goals down or something to that effect, I looked at you and I went, well, it's going to be interesting, mate.
Yeah.
But to their credit, they pulled it back. Optus does drain well, given. Although I did, COD actually showed a few pictures yesterday. I think was it the day before the game, and he was showing me the heated lights and the side of Optus, and credit to the Optus ground staff, the ground crew, because what those photos illustrated was a ground that did not look ready to be played on. And in less than 24 hours, it's an amazing spectacle. I don't know how these guys do it, but they do it well.
They do it well.
All right, mate, this is my last one.
Yep.
From Stephen Baker. All right, he likes not only playing for West Coast, but sending emails in. Favorite retro jumper?
I love the one that's predominantly green. The anchor with the predominant green, like the away jumper from the early days. You?
I'll always have the first jumper in my heart, but I loved the red and white chevrons. I love that. That was the first real whoo.
Yeah.
And the black shorts and Metta's having a day out in it.
Heritage style. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, last one from me from James Ansty. He said, are either of you going to Oasis in Melbourne or Sydney later in the year?
I tried getting tickets, but to no avail. I'm not fortunate with getting tickets. I have a superhuman gift. Everyone has superpowers.
Yep.
Mine's parking.
Yeah.
I can park and find parking wherever except for the kryptonite, which is carrying up shopping centre.
Yeah.
But I can get parking anywhere right out front, Duck. You know this. But I would
seen it
say,
in action, mate.
and also a weakness is getting tickets.
Yeah.
And getting in line. I missed out on anything that comes here these days. I love music. But I did get Akadaka tickets and I did get Metallica tickets.
Yeah, see, I saw AC/DC last time. It was great.
Yep.
I went with my cousin Colin. It was fantastic, but I just can't cop it this year, man. I'm like, nah, no good. I don't know if I've told this story in the pod,
Okay.
but I went to a festival called the V Festival in Cheltenham, all right?
Yeah,
and
Cheltenham.
they play
Yeah, I know where that is.
Leeds
Yeah.
and Cheltenham,
Yep.
all right? And then they have the same lineup
Same
and
lineup.
they cross over. The last time Oasis ever played before they've come back on their comeback tour was at Leeds on the Friday night. They did not play at Cheltenham on the Saturday.
Oh,
So I've never seen Oasis. They are one of my favourite bands. Went and saw Blair a couple of years ago and they were awesome. I would love to go see Oasis, but unfortunately I have family commitments that matter more to me than going to see, two squabbling brothers. And but look, it would be absolutely epic. But I think they'll come back. The money's too much, mate. They're not going to break up now. They'll tour again.
Well,
so.
I mean, I've got a soft spot for Oasis because the former band that I was in, the lead singer and the guitarist were massive Oasis heads, and a lot of our songs were based on that.
Mm.
And we were meant to go see them play, but then, yeah, long story short, things they break up, all that sort of crap. But I mean, I reckon it would be a spectacle. I'd like to see it. There's always the potential for it to be a little bit more disappointing than what you remember them to be.
Yeah,
but
I want to get some of these this old band. Get some of their music on the pod. Let's get around it.
Rehearsal rooms,
love it.
Wow, yeah.
All right, I was on that note. Let's wrap this up. Remember, we're at Purple Rain 95, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Remember, we're at the Purple Rain 95 on TikTok, YouTube, and at Gmail if you want to send us an email. Remember, jump on our merch store. All of the stuff is on Redbubble. It's all in our socials. If you don't have social media and you want to find it out, send us an email and we'll get you the link or whatever it happens to be. Remember to get around our great sponsors. They're doing such great work. And get around the Jammy Donuts, I guess, as well.
Oh, yeah, get around them.